All right. So I don't know if it just started or if I already did, but welcome. Glad to see you this morning. We're going to start with our um, soul mantra, and then as we evolve, we're going to talk about forgiveness this morning. So we'll say it together. If you don't have it, it is on my community page. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Now, someone remarked the other day about feeling. So if you're calling that in from a heart space, there should be an illumination coming to you from that soul light coming in and acknowledging you. But everyone's different. And the one thing we know is everybody's in a different place. So let's talk about forgiveness for a moment. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them up in the chat. And good morning to you, Chase and Carol. Glad you're coming and joining me today. Forgiveness is perhaps one of the issues that begin our journey to learn. And there's many people who still haven't learned it. And the interesting thing is it's the one thing God always does immediately. So if you're finding within yourselves things that come to your mind that you could forgive yourself for, and feeling not worthy or not capable of holding a lot of love, then you need to go right away to the understanding that that's your stuff. That's not God's stuff. God already forgives us because he understands we are on a journey. And that's what he's given us the free will to do, is to make our own choices, to learn what those choices bring to us. And as we grow and evolve on our path, if it wasn't comfortable, maybe we'll begin to choose to make the comfortable choice. So if anyone here has issues about forgiveness, I want to share with you what a teacher once showed to me. She had a file with all these multicolored papers, and she picked out pink. And she said, "This is my forgiveness." Good morning, Marvy. "This is my forgiveness rule, what I pray to God for, and it always works. And I have to tell you, fill it out correctly, and it always works." And it's a fill in the blank. It is in the relationship of, and this is where you put the other person's name and put your own name. May whatever be in the highest and best good for both involved occur now. You see, the problem is usually people want it to look a certain way. They want there to be a certain ending, or have control of it, if we want to say that. And asking forgiveness isn't anything to do with control. It's allowing yourself to be neutral in the beginning if you want to evolve it. And if you have issues, you might want to go to a place that is loving and choose to understand you must just give it up. Choose to. For what is it doing for you? It's keeping you separate. What do we know about that separate way of feeling? It's going to take us down a hole where none of us want to go, I'm sure. And if you've become comfortable with that, then we need to have you become comfortable with something else other than holding a grudge, I think is what it's called. Sometimes this happens between the best of friends, and that's when the deepest ones occur. Like you could never forgive them. Oh, our word here, right? Well, First, you want to listen to what was it about? What really was the argument about? And then you have to ask yourself, well, is any of it really mine? Because the blessing that situations are that are uncomfortable, that come to us, is for us to be able to look at ourselves and to heal. And let's say none of it's yours, that you have compassion for your friend and you just want to be friends again. Then my suggestion to you is fill out the form on a paper somewhere and trust that God will let it move. So now if you're the one that's pointed out to be the grudge that has real issues controlling, no, that was mine, not theirs. How dare they? Well, first you need to wrap them all up and pull them out of whatever chakra is inside you. You must let it go. You must just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, because not only is this not supporting and helping your relationship with this person, but it's also not helping your relationship with God, which is a journey for you to grow and to become more like Him and Mother. And they just love you no matter what you do. It'd be quite a class to have to everything that's brought up. Well, what would, you used to hear, well, what would Jesus do? Well, what would Father and Mother do? Well, of course, they would just love you. So there is a lot. We used to hear about old feuds, right? We've all heard about feuds. And the only missing component is forgiveness. So when we can begin to pull that out and to not have it be a part of, if you're someone who's got to win, there it is. Do you have to be right? Do you have to be the winner? Well, what chakra is that in? This is what you ask yourself. Where do I feel that disruption? And start pulling out the black fabric. Pulling out the black fabric, letting that go. What is that doing for you? That's always what you have to ask yourself. What good is this bringing me? It's not teaching you about forgiveness, and it's really not teaching you about love. This isn't loving the self. This is putting yourself up in a ring where you're beating yourself up every day. Because I can tell you, if it's one friend, it's going to be another friend. And if it's another friend, it's going to keep going around until all of a sudden there's no one around. And then we get all upset about that. I'm alone. Well, who was the creator of that? Yeah, not God, not Mother. Your own energy and how you hold it and what you believe is the creator of that which surrounds you. So maybe sometimes you need to look around. And yes, it's true, sometimes friends are meant to fall away. But in that normal sense, also new ones come. But when it's about how you treat a friend, new ones may not come. And maybe that's another point. In the healing, you have to come to see who has created the scenario for there to be no one around you. Has it been you? Or has it been the other people who can no longer see who you are? I would tend to think it's probably you. That's what I'm about, is seeing what's inside people that keeps them held in the bondage of what they want to believe. Not that it's a truth. It may be their truth in the moment. But remember, truth is something that will continually shift and change. Good morning, Marby. Good morning, Michelle. Hope everyone's doing well. We're talking about forgiveness. So think of someone who there might be a possibility of forgiveness that still might need to be existing. And let's have you write and fill out this fill in the blank. Between the relationship of the name of your friend and whatever your name is, ask for the highest and best good to come to fruition. Now that kind of leaves it wide open, right? It can say nothing's going to happen, but it also says there's a possibility of something very powerful happening. But do you see, you're always in the quotient of it. You're in that deciding factor of it. What is it you want? And if you're here wanting to be the best and be the winner and to be right, forgiveness isn't going to happen because you haven't forgiven yourself for being you. You know, we live our lives with sometimes demanding parents, sometimes parents who are over-loving, and then there's those that hit the jackpot and their parents just allow them to test out and find out who they are. But whatever it is, you must face who are you trying to be that for? Who is it that taught you that you had to be right, you had to be the best? I think probably the right one is saying you have to be right is the worst level, because we always want to be the best we can. But whatever it is, if it's going to harm the mirror of relationship inside yourself, you need to look at it. Because then your next question is, well, how do I do this to myself? How do I not forgive myself? How do I hold judgment, criticism? Now we've went into two other words that are very familiar, right? It's the easier way out. Think about it. Which is easier? To just spout out what you've learned, or to really get to know you and to love who you are? And to understand that it was part of the journey, and thank God you got that piece over, but now you can love yourself for all that you've learned. We really have to look at all these things as a part of the stepping forward on our path. That 144,000 pieces need someone to love them and to help them through. Sure, you may have already done some of it, maybe a lot of it, but there is no doubt in my heart that everyone has something here that is going on or has gone on, and maybe you've tried to forget it. It could be a long time ago, it could be another lifetime, but that feeling still lies within, and you want to throw it on to so many people. Well, it's time. It's time, as now we're here all together, all in creating a community of oneness, that if it's some part of you, just allow it to do it. Okay? Here we have a question. What about forgiving the person who has passed on? That's a good question. Remember, someone who passes on has just went through a bridge to another dimension. They're more aware of what you're doing than you are. They will receive it, and it will also set them free. So that's called good karma. You know, your karma is kept track of. And have you seen the I Am Presence and all those circles of light around it? They're about good karma. You want good karma because that will be there to help fulfill you later on your path when you may really desire it. So let's see. Here's Michelle's. Good morning, Michelle. For me, forgiveness is an ongoing practice of self-compassion. It's hard when we feel hurt and wishing the best for the other person. You know, everybody does it differently. I'm not going to say that that's not enough or that's too much. If that's working for you, that's good. But we're looking to get towards simplicity as we want to move more into the energy of Mother and Father. We want the part where everything gets all tied up and strangled to be done quickly so that we can begin to make a different choice to how it even gets there. Having worked with numerous people over the years, I know it's so that once you have a really big blowout with someone and you work through and figure it out, it doesn't ever happen to that depth again. And maybe that's what you're saying, Michelle. Now you can have compassion. But I think the hardest part for most people is wishing the best for the other person. There's still that niche. It should be me that's getting that, not you. Call that whatever you want. I don't know. But a lot of people have it. And you know what I've learned over the years? Whatever's out there and whatever's happening, we all have it. How we move through it, how we resolve it, may all be different. But that's why there's a oneness. We come from oneness, and right now we're in that forgetting to remember what oneness was. So healing is helping us all begin to learn how to allow it to embrace us and make this all easier work, if you want to say it. It's hard when we feel hurt. And so let me say this out loud. It's hard when we feel hurt and wishing the best for the other person. Yeah, that tells me it's not really gone. Not really gone. So in the statement I gave you, there must be a willingness. You must be willing to say, I'm ready to let it be whatever it is. And that's what this needs to help support you being. Know that it doesn't need to hurt. You can just allow it to be gone. She's agreeing. Yes, we are all connected. I wish the best for the other person. I wish people the best on their journey. For I'm not one, if I'm in that process and it's a part of my journey, that they have to form themselves to what I want. So I hope it works however it's meant to in their place, you see. Here's Carol Swisher. I recently had this happen to me. Thoughts of being hurt or taken advantage of kept coming to my awareness. So I took it into a private session with TheoSophia. She lovingly helped me see and forgive. Yes, Carol, I can remember. It was a very powerful thing. That's what I'm saying. It's hard to talk about it, and this is the only way, because there's so many things within each individual person that can come up that in shifting it in the perception, and what a gift perception is that God has given us. The ability to maybe at one point be in the tremendous pain of it all and have it be that nagging ego telling you, you all know it. And to then begin to make a choice. Well, if the ego wasn't there, what would be the truth? If the ego wasn't trying to be the one in power and telling you it knows best, what would be the truth? And Carol had kind of here she is again. Myself and the other person, the difference in how I feel now is like night and day. It's wonderful when we can let go of issues within. Yeah, it all created a whole different experience happening. And that wasn't in Carol's control. It happened. It came to her. So you need to understand that this thing we call life is interlocked with a lot of other lives. And as we take the bowling ball and let's see where we're going, those other people feel it, even though we don't know it. And it's like-minded. When they say like-minded, it's how we have created, perhaps like this community, similar things that Chase is going to learn from Carol, and Michelle's going to learn from Marby. Who knows? But it all works in a beautiful way to keep everyone moving forward. We could be a soul group, and our souls have worked together to bring everybody back. Maybe we've all known each other at another time. But it's also going to bring a demonstrative amount of healing forth because we have a similar capacity of love. And that's what the soul likes to move towards. You'll feel it when you meet someone and they don't have that, whether you want to call it awareness, capacity, understanding. And then there'll be that one that I can say a few words to them and they'll fit right in. You want to become aware of something beyond versus this little box you're in. You're not in a box. You're in your own box if that's where you've placed yourself. But there's a whole world, a whole energy that you have movement just through the mind, which the mind needs to be brought down into the heart and the soul guides you. So let's see. I hope this will bring healing to me and the person who has passed on. Well, Chase, you can just go in your heart where you are and how you've shifted your thought and ask an angel to come to take it to her, wherever this person, him or her, is, and know it's so. And that's what will happen. It may have already happened, but if you want the clarity, then you can ask for an angel who can go to both levels and take your message to them. So Michelle says, yes, letting go is healing. I don't hold on to hurt feelings or anger. Reflection, prayer, and mindfulness, and etc. Well, very good. Very good. It'll just be the next thing that comes up. There's always more. No matter where you are and what you believe and how you've shifted, there will always be more. You're welcome, Chase. Let me see where we are here. I don't want to miss someone's thoughts. Okay. So, keep up with the questions. Hopefully, my 34 years of working with people will bring us an answer. But I've also had those people that come in so tight, so like if I say the wrong word, they're just going to, and I can tell it, they're just going to break down. But that's what people do with me and what maybe happens to you too, because they feel safe, that no matter what they say, it's going to be loved and embraced and show them how to just let it go. And people can change night and day, even yourselves, in a very short period of time in a process of healing. Yeah. So, forgiveness. Let's think for a moment. What are the kind of things we need to forgive ourselves for? I would say jealousy is a big one. In some households, you are taught, and not that you weren't all in loving homes, but you're taught that others have something that you don't. Or maybe you're the one that has something others don't. That things have become a separation, which has spawned jealousy. So let's talk about this for a moment. First, you must heal this within yourself. First, you must heal this within yourself. What is it about you? Okay. What is it about you that you feel is something you need? Something you need, whether it's in the material world or in the spiritual world, whatever it is. Well, first thing that comes to me is an open heart. What creates an open heart? Is it the person who is laughing all the time and happy, and everything's good with him? Who is it? Who is it that demonstrates the open heart? Well, there's another gift that comes with the open heart, and it's humility. So what I found is that person who looks like they have everything's figured out, laughs and giggles about everything, is the most wounded. That they've learned how to wear that costume. Now, what does the costume look like of the person who maybe has the open heart, but has humility with it? I would say there's still somewhat of I want to say shame, and I'm hearing no, and let me see who else is going to chime in here. Not believing that they're deserving enough. That's the issue. I don't know if anyone here has ever had that, but that's a costume that is on with sticky glue. Well, I don't believe I really know how. Oh, I don't know that I was really close to God. I hear all these things, and I'm looking at a person that holds such innocence that they can't see it beyond things that have come from somewhere, whether it's their parents or what they see and how people treat people. So you want to go within yourself, and what do you believe? What do you believe about what you need? And most people don't realize that the greatest need a soul can have is the self-love. Yes, I heard most people hear how self-love, and we've talked about it, but it's still working. It's still growing. Because in the end, you have to love yourself enough to be able to hold mother and father within you. That means there can't be anything unsatisfactory within yourself. And you have learned to love, express it, accept it, and not only accept it, but to love it. And in that process, you will begin to learn more what self-love really is. So, today was about forgiveness. Does anyone have any final questions they'd like to ask? One more thought's coming, and it's that part of you that always wants to be like another. None of us can ever be like someone else. We are our own magic being, if you want to call it. No one can ever be you. No one can ever be me, no matter how hard you try. But in that process, we can learn to grow yourself and discover what's inside you. But it isn't about other people. This is a relationship between you, God, and Mother. And those in the world participate in giving you experience in how these things all work with you. So, love who you are. And that's going to encourage you every day to find out more. Who are you? What do you think? When your heart beats and it starts getting quicker, what has activated that adrenal reaction? That's something that's separate still, perhaps. Because true self-love is very peaceful. So very good for all of you who ask questions. You all sound very connected, but it's not going to stop me being here and trying to help you even further, because there's a peace in knowing that there is the direction that you're on. You see? Yeah, and it's called growth. I'm sure many of the people who began with me, and I'll hear it now, well, I went for years before I met you, and we have moved universes in the process. So I want you all to have a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow. So if it brings up questions, let me know what they are, and we'll address them tomorrow. Many blessings to you. Thank you.